Hello, this is the TradeTech US Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Monday, the week of Monday, May 2nd, 2016, ending Friday the 6th, entering the month of May, the fifth month of the year already. Hope you had a good trading week and a good weekend. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market in futures form, which is the proper way to technically look at the markets. And, we talked 2 weeks ago about that 13 sell signal that came in place. We haven't had one since last February, a year ago February. And the pink risk line that is generated from that, and we did not break and close above that pink risk line. So far that signal is in place. What was important about this last couple of days is that we finally are starting on Thursday and Friday to see that signal come to fruition as the market rolls over. And remember, the way the signal works, that red line is potentially the ultimate target of the signal. That's back at 1885 on the ES. We're still sitting up at 2060. So just be aware of that. That's another 170-something points down if the signal goes the whole way. But we're definitely seeing trouble, and we can tell just with Google and Apple and some of the misses this week and those stocks selling off. We'll look at them in a minute. It was not pretty, and even though the Nasdaq took it worse than the broad market so far, you can feel like something. You can feel the change in the market here. It's good for us. Volume was better as we rolled over, and obviously we'd like to see more volatility so things actually move. So just be prepared to make some money on the short side over the next few weeks, and we should be good to go. Crude oil closed at 45.65. Note the 13 sell signal there on Thursday. So that actually could go all the way back to that red line, which is 33 or so. Gold up 4.2. New highs in gold. S&P cash index, which also has obviously the signal, closed down 10.5 points for the session. NDX down 22, but look at this. Now remember, this one never got a 13 sell signal, but it did have a 9-bar startup phase going up. And this is actually a counter signal because you then roll over. The red line is the target. We did just hit the red line, and we just completed, if I go to projection mode, a 9-bar completion to the downside right on that red line, which means we now have a different green static trend line that's actually in place. You can see it right there. So getting to that the red line kind of fulfills the downside requirement on the NDX, but again, the broad market just starting to roll over off of a major signal. SOX down 17. You can see this breaking here. Not pretty. Biotech's down 74. Heading back towards that red risk line as well. Trend closed the day at 1.09. 10-day moving average is right around 1. That's not a signal. NASDAQ volume 2.1 billion shares on Friday. You can see it got better every day of the week. Started very weak on Monday, and then Tuesday better, Wednesday better, Thursday big, Friday. Now we had a lot of earnings out, but still, that's it's better to see the volume there than not there, right? Advanced decline ratio on the Nasdaq negative 1112. I can say it. Advanced decline ratio on the Nasdaq negative 453. Google gained $2.82 after falling off sharply the last few days. After earnings, Apple lost $1.90, swept the lows of the year. Under 92 would be ugly on Apple. Hasn't been there in a long time. Amazon gained 57.59, gapping up on some news. Netflix down 237. Amazon really is what helped hold the market up from really ugly losses for the session. All right, let's take a look. We'll go to 10-minute candles here instead of 5. We'll take a look at the week on the ES. You can see Monday a little gap down. Cup and handle form didn't quite fill the gap. Tuesday gapped up, so that fills the gap from Monday. Then we went a little higher for a minute, pushed back down, filled that gap, closed about even for the rest of the day. It was not very interesting. Wednesday opened flat, opened on a small gap down that ultimately filled after the Fed announcement and closed right about at the same place for the session. Thursday, gap down, filled the gap, flat over lunch, and then this is where the real sell-off. So the whole sell-off for the week is really from the last 2 hours on Thursday all the way through the first 2 hours on Friday, and then it's month end at that point. So people took off, but as you can see, we sold off a good 45, 50 points just in those 4 hours of actual trading. That's on the ES, so that's significant. NASDAQ side looks a little different because the pressure on the tech stocks from earnings, but nevertheless was down for the week. All right, let's take a look at what's coming out in the week ahead. So Monday, May 2nd, ISM index and construction spending 30 minutes into the market. Tuesday, just the auto and truck sales in the afternoon, not a big deal. Wednesday, MBA mortgage index, ADP employment change, productivity, unit labor costs, and trade balance, which can be a big number, all that an hour before the bell. And then factory orders and ISM services 30 minutes in, crude oil inventories an hour in. Thursday, Challenger job cuts, initial and continuing claims, and natty gas. Friday, non-farm payroll along with the unemployment rate. Obviously, that's a big one and can cause the market to gap some. So we'll be aware of that. And then the hourly earnings and everything that comes with that. And then ending with consumer credit in the afternoon. So a week of not a lot of economic numbers, but some big ones between the trade balance number and the unemployment rate on Friday. So we'll be aware of that for any gap purposes. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks, but make sure you're on the right side of the market here, because if this sell signal really starts to come to fruition, you don't want to be fighting it, trying to buy things when the market is just tanking, which we could come into that here fairly quickly. Once things roll, they tend to pick up speed and not look back. Have a great trading week.